When most people hear the words estate planning, their eyes glaze over. It sounds complicated, expensive, and like something only the ultra-wealthy need to worry about. So it gets pushed to the back burner year after year. But here's the truth. Estate planning isn't about how much money you have. It's about helping protect the people you love and making sure your wishes are honored. As we like to say, your estate plan is your final act of love for your family. And here's the part most people overlook. If you don't have an estate plan, the state in which you live has one for you. State law decides who gets your assets, who raises your children, and how your legacy is handled. And those default rules rarely reflect what you would want for your family. I've seen this firsthand. Families caught in long, expensive probate battles, parents with no guardianship plan leaving the court to decide who raises their children, blended families where stepchildren were left out entirely because there was no will. These situations aren't just costly, they're heartbreaking. The good news is estate planning doesn't have to be complicated. With just a few key steps, you can create clarity, reduce costs, and give your loved ones confidence. Hi, I'm Hank Persia, President and owner of Starboard Wealth Advisors. I help high net worth families and retirees protect their wealth, mitigate taxes, and pass it on smoothly to the next generation. If you've been putting off your estate plan, we believe now is the time to act. Click the link in the description below to schedule a complimentary consultation, and I'll take the time to help you take the first steps towards protecting your family and your legacy. So let's simplify it. Consider these 5 keys to estate planning that can make all the difference. Key 1, create a last will and testament. The foundation of every estate plan is a will. This document outlines who should receive your assets, who should manage your estate, and if you have minor children, who should be their guardian. Without a will, your estate is considered intestate, which means the state decides who gets what. That process is not only slow and expensive, but it can produce outcomes you never choose. For example, take Robert. He remarried later in life. He has 2 children from his first marriage and a stepson he's helped raise for a decade. He always intended to leave something for all 3 children, but Robert passed away without a will. State law divided his estate between his current wife and his 2 biological children. His stepson, who was like a son to him, was left out completely since he was never legally adopted. Now, compare that with another client, Linda. Linda wrote a simple will that left specific percentages of her estate to her spouse, children, and a favorite charity. When she passed, the process was clear, smooth, and drama-free. Her family could focus on grieving and remembering her, not fighting over what she would have wanted. Creating a will does not take long, but it provides clarity that can save your family years of stress and conflict. Key number 2, establish powers of attorney. Estate planning isn't just about what happens after you die. It's also about protecting yourself and your family while you're still alive. The financial or durable power of attorney allows someone you trust to manage your finances if you're incapacitated. The healthcare power of attorney names someone to make medical decisions on your behalf if you can't. These are some of the most overlooked areas of planning. Many people assume their spouse or children can simply step in, but legally that's not the case. The court needs to decide who is the adult individual's legal representative, regardless of who their friends think it should be. Without powers of attorney, your family may have to go to court just to gain authority to pay bills, access accounts, or make healthcare decisions for you. Consider Susan, a successful business owner who suffered a stroke at 67. She didn't have these powers of attorney in place. Her adult children then had to petition the court for both guardianship and to handle her finances. That process took months, cost thousands in legal fees, and created unnecessary tension among siblings about who should take the lead. Now imagine if Susan had taken the time to sign a financial and healthcare power of attorney. Her kids could have immediately stepped in without court delays and with the confidence that they were following her wishes. These documents may not sound dramatic, but they're some of the most powerful tools you can have in place for the adult members of your family. Key number 3, use beneficiary designations wisely. Certain assets like retirement accounts, life insurance policies, investment accounts with transfer on death, and bank accounts with payable on death instructions won't go through your will. They simply transfer directly to the beneficiaries listed on the account. That's why keeping beneficiary designations updated is so important. Outdated designations can send assets to the wrong person or exclude someone you intended to include. Consider a man who named his first wife as the beneficiary of his 401k. After they divorced, he forgot to update it. When he passed away years later, the ex-wife inherited the entire account. His children, whom he assumed would inherit, received nothing from that asset. This is simply an avoidable mistake with proper due diligence. Updating your beneficiary designation only takes a few minutes, uses a form from the financial institution without paying any attorneys, and ensures the assets go to the right people. It's also an opportunity to think strategically. For example, maybe you want retirement accounts to go to your spouse for continued income, while a life insurance policy goes directly to children or grandchildren. Or maybe you want part of your life insurance payout directed to a charitable organization. Beneficiary designations give you that flexibility and helps avoid unnecessary taxes. Key number 4, consider an inter vivos or revocable living trust. A will is essential, but for many families, a revocable trust can take planning to the next level. A trust is a legal entity that holds assets on behalf of your beneficiaries. Think of it like a protected cookie jar. It can help you avoid probate, reduce estate taxes, and control how and when your assets are distributed after you pass. Here's why that matters. Probate can take months, or sometimes even years. It's a public process where the court system and attorneys need to determine who are your rightful legal heirs, and that process can cost thousands in legal fees. A trust, by contrast, allows assets to transfer privately and often much faster since it reflects your personal wishes with no guesswork. Trusts are especially useful for blended families, families with young children, those with special needs, or those with significant assets. Imagine you leave $500,000 to your 18-year-old child outright. Without some oversight or guidance, that inheritance could disappear very quickly. We call that the red sports car inheritance. But if you leave it in a living trust for the child, your appointed trustee can then make distributions to the child tied to their life milestones, such as finishing college, buying a first home, or reaching a certain age. This way, the money is better protected, can last longer, and can provide the support you intended. Living trusts can also protect inherited assets from creditors, divorce settlements, and lawsuits, ensuring your children or grandchildren retain the value you worked so hard to build. Not every family needs a living trust, but for those who do, it can provide incredible confidence. Key 5, communicate your plan. The final key to estate planning is communication. Even the best plan can create confusion or conflict if your family doesn't know what to expect. That doesn't mean you have to share every detail of your finances, but having conversations about your wishes, who will be responsible for what, and why you made certain decisions can prevent misunderstandings later. I've seen siblings stop speaking to each other because they disagreed over how to divide a parent's estate. And sometimes the argument isn't even about money. It can be about over how to distribute family heirlooms such as jewelry, photo albums, figurine collections, or the like. Without clear instructions of your wishes, those items can resurrect old sibling rivalries and become major sources of conflict. By contrast, I've seen families who talked openly about their estate plan in advance or left clear instructions on how to distribute treasured family assets after they passed. Their children then understood their parents' decisions, knew what to expect, and supported one another emotionally when the time came. That clarity kept the family united. Maybe now you better understand why we like to say your estate plan is your final act of love for your family. So estate planning isn't just about documents, it's about relationships. Communicating your plan helps protect those relationships as much as it helps protect your assets. Estate planning may feel complicated, but at its core, it's about 5 simple steps. Creating a will, establishing powers of attorney, updating beneficiary designations, considering a living trust, and communicating your plan. These steps can help you reduce costs, avoid unnecessary taxes, and most importantly, give your family clarity when they need it most. We believe the biggest mistake people make is waiting too long. Estate planning isn't just for the wealthy, and it isn't just for later in life. The earlier you start, the more options you have, and the confidence you'll create, especially when minor children are involved. If you haven't created or updated your estate plan, now may be the time. Click the link in the description below to book a complimentary consultation, and I'll help you take the first steps toward helping protect your family and your legacy, and selecting a qualified estate attorney. Remember, at Starboard Wealth Advisors, your financial destination is why we're here. Thanks for watching, and if you found this helpful, make sure to watch our other videos for more clear, no fluff retirement guidance, or contact us for a simple phone or Zoom call. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on our next video.